Hello, everyone. This is the Paint the Town Red podcast. My name is Chance. I am the host per usual, but today we have a very special guest, a Wang half. Finally, we've had all these bad guests on, and finally we have a real Wang half on. She fights MMA. She's on Instagram giving great takes about dating and guys and all types of stuff. So she's here today. She's a Mossad agent. She's trying to hire her IQ. Despite being white, she's even trying to have a higher IQ, so maybe we can work on that with her today.
Mhm.
Is there anything you wanna say about yourself?
Oh, my name's Lily, and that's really it. So, yeah.
So Lily, I found her on Instagram a while ago, actually. I think before I even had a following or even I was even getting on Instagram. And I messaged her and talked to she was putting on she had some pretty similar views as I did, and obviously she fights MMA and trains and does a lot of things that guys do. So I was
Ew.
girl's pretty cool. And so now she decided to come on the podcast. So I'm really happy to have her. The last reel I think I seen you on just the other day, it was about like this girl was online and she was like, guys, it's not about looks, it's about other stuff. And you're
Oh,
like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
hold on.
yeah, yeah.
You're like, hold on,
Yeah.
hold on, hold on. It's not about looks, but it kind of is.
Yeah, women say they don't want a Chad, and I don't think they want, like, a stereotypical Chad, but what they won't say is that, personality matters, but you're not let in the door without a certain, looks threshold. So it's,
Yeah.
like, kinda this it's like it's not good or bad, it's just the way it is, but I think that we just need to be honest about it. That allows us to navigate the society a little better. I don't know.
That's
Like
exactly right. It's like, yeah, we all know that Chad that like has no personalities and is kind of like a dweeb because I don't know, maybe they've like relied on their looks, I guess. I don't know what it is, but we all know that
Mhm.
guy. But that's probably like
Yeah,
1% of the people. Like usually
that's
a guy that looks good is probably, he does other things that are good too. And then you
it
go,
comes with the territory.
yeah,
Facial symmetry is highly correlated with other indicators of health and is correlated with intelligence. So being attractive, you're more likely to also be intelligent. Those kind of come in the fold. Of course, you have off cases, and those are your celebrities with Jewish handlers like Katy Perry and shit that are like this perfect mold, but also a beautiful woman. So you have stuff like that. I don't know, a lot of, but yeah, I think it comes with the territory a little bit.
yeah, I definitely think you're right. I've been trying to getting into looks maxing and kind of just doing the best I can without having to inject things in my face. And I've noticed a lot of it is like just health. Like just be healthy,
100%.
drink water. Like, I can do
Basically,
that.
basically. I mean, the major problem is, unfortunately, most of us have a lot of recession, and that's just how we were raised. I mean, not gnawing on steaks all day. And the unfortunate reality is that just some of that just can't be fixed without filler, can't be fixed without surgery. Like
Yeah.
mewing's great, but it's not gonna.
It's not gonna turn you in, yeah, you're not gonna get the results you desire. You're not gonna be able to crush Stacy like you thought you would by just mewing. Sorry. But there is things you could do. What's crazy too is I've got this little chew toy that I bought, like a Jawser size, and I've been gnawing
Yeah.
on it a little bit, and I feel a big difference, especially like after I've worked out and my water's down in my face, I can like see a difference for sure. But it's crazy. Like I posted one story with it on, and all these dudes came out of the woodwork. They're like, "Bro, your looks maxing? That's so gay." Blah blah blah. And I'm like,
Man,
"Yeah,
well, so, like, I have some opinions on that. It really, like, depends on whether your master muscle is, like, low set or high set. Like, I've noticed unfortunately, like, my jaw has significantly widened from just having a mouth guard on from MMA and, like, bearing down on it. But I have, like, low set, but some people, like, they have, like, higher set masseters and they'll, like, go overboard on it. So it's just about balance. Some people can really use that, and it's a good tool. Like,
hmm,
I like mastic gum for people. I haven't used it because I don't think I need to broaden my face anymore as a woman, but yeah, it's very interesting.
that's cool that you do MMA. I fought MMA. I've wrestled in college, and then I
Oh,
box
hell yeah.
currently now. I definitely noticed that with the mouth guard and stuff that you do get a desired effect. I think also like when you're punching, you go like this, and
Mhm.
that does something. And there's something about sparring I notice, and I'm sure you probably notice this too. The day after sparring, there's nothing like it. It's like you like reset everything. your eyes and everything just like reset and you're just happy to like not be getting kicked in the face. So you're just happy about life. You're just like, "Hey, how's it going?"
No, seriously, like, there's no high like sparring. It's especially, like, as I've developed my skills, it's just this beautiful artistic expression, and there's nothing like it. As soon as I had my first practice, I was like, "Whoa," and then I just kept showing up. I'm like, "This is amazing. This is, like, so cool. Why wasn't I put in this sooner?" Like, my parents could have saved themselves a lot of trouble. You know what I mean? Like, damn.
Yeah.
But
What is your story? I mean, obviously, you talked earlier about, the people with Jewish handlers. I've seen you say some America First-esque talking points, and obviously, girl who fights MMA, things like this. That's not the typical run-of-the-mill. So what kinda brought you to have some of these interests and to be into what you're into?
I don't know. I really don't know. It's just kind of like the kind of innate desire. Like, I really do think that kind of there's a certain inevitability. I mean, obviously, I can't go back to my childhood and pinpoint, oh yeah, this caused this and this caused this.
Who
I don't
doesn't?
know. It's I don't know. I just kind of wandered and ended up here. And I think it's really just the desire to learn and skill acquisition is what I value above all else. So that led me down a lot of interesting paths, and put me in a lot of kind of interesting, abnormal places. And it's just something I just crave more of. And I think that's part of like living a vital life is just kind of sense of exploration. And it does put me in an odd place because I'm a woman, and a lot of the hobbies that I've taken up are traditionally certainly not, women dominated, which I never really pay attention to unless someone says it, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I guess that's different," but I don't know. I don't know, man, it just feels natural. It's just like, "Oh, this is what I should be doing," right?
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
guess that's, definitely a prerequisite for especially having apolitical ideas, right? I think when you have an apolitical viewpoint, like, you're like, "I'm not left or right, I'm just what I think's correct." The only people that are in that camp are people that are like, "No, I'm trying to learn. I'm not trying to be a part of a team and do all these things and lie to myself in order to come up with a desired result. No, I wanna find
yeah,
out what the truth is. You desire
yeah, yeah.
truth." And I
That's why
think
I was a traditional Catholic for, like, 3 years, but during that path, it was just still continued learning. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Oh, no, you're fine, go ahead. Cut me off all you want. No, and now I forgot what I was gonna say. That's okay.
Shoot.
What I was gonna say I was gonna connect the 2 between being apolitical and someone who just, like, seeks, is an explorer like yourself, and that's an interesting archetype for me, especially for women. Guys are typically you get guys that are like that quite often, but with women, I feel like it's less so. Still, you do, of course, you have the Amelia Earharts, you know what I mean, of course,
Yeah,
but
she's a lesbian, though. That's what comes with the territory. She was and Eleanor Roosevelt, they were banging. It's crazy.
Okay, so even less so for the women that are straight, of course, but when you do come across them like yourself, you guys have you guys have your hobbies that you're interested in, and then you have these political takes. Where have you kinda landed on some of the political stuff going on today? Are you involved in politics in any way, or
I not really, I mean, I'm kind of an observer, like, I see things that are going on, and I think I kind of instinctively view them through the purview that I've been kinda cultivating for the past 7 years that I've been, like, looking into politics, like actively observing. Like when I was 14, as every 14-year-old does, I got really into political theory. So I was super, super interested in like political organization and what is the ideal society, what is most in line with our human nature, how can we like optimize our human existence. But, you know, at a certain point, I think you just kind of somewhat age out of that and start realizing that, hey, I mean, gotta touch grass. The amount of control we have is over our own life. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, I can't will into existence the perfect society. But I like to talk about it. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting. Like exposure to new ideas. I mean, I think that's just kind of what you got to do. I don't think there's really any other way. Like living in a state of dissidence and just denial of reality is just not a fun place to be. It brings out the worst in us. It's just like, I'm pretty amoral in a sense, and I'm sure that you disagree with that. And I'd be interested to hear your takes on like the moral weight of things and what role morality has or how we should look at it in a society.
Yeah, so I think morality comes from God, but you may believe in a different God and then your morality will be different. I don't think morality is as natural as we believe it to be. I think you're no matter where you like animals will kill their offspring for food. Bears will like eat themselves, right? So it's like I don't think morality is natural. I think it's gifted to us and I think that we cultivated over years and years of learning from our past. And now we've came to this conclusion of like, hey, there's this balance between like what is real with science and like what we've learned in the past and what have the ancient scholars taught us through the Bible, religion. And I think that is where we derive our morality from, especially in the West. And that's why you see other groups coming in that have a different morality and there's big problems with it. And
Yeah.
so, yeah,
I mean, I think that religiosity is partially defined by environmental selection in specific localities, which is why you see kind of this convergence of different moral systems that consolidate in different areas, and why
mm,
Western morality is certainly distinct from Eastern morality and is distinct from African morality. You know what I mean? Like, very, very different because,
mm,
I mean, you have like the fast and slow life strategy, whereas, you know, Africans tend to have a lot more offspring because there's a higher mortality rate. They die quicker, they have shorter telomeres. So they have, extremely high rates of single fatherhood because it's kind of like in that very high Darwinian environment where you don't have a lot of advancement, you don't have modern healthcare, and you don't have it's just like you have to your resources are spread thin. So you have a lot of kids and a lot of them die. They have high rates of twins, and I think that we can see like you even looking at their linguistics for certain African languages, you can see that they have kind of a very different perception of time. Like they don't really perceive of the future in the same way that the West does. And I think a lot of these are really kind of innate in that obviously like Christianity has kind of taken over some parts of Africa. Like a lot of Africans are Christians, and I think that's just because Christianity is applicable in many ways. I think it's good for a thriving society. I think a very healthy, functional society will have some sort of Christian backbone, and I think that's why it's so popular in the West. Part of the reason why. Uh,
it's not
in
just that though,
Africa.
right? Like, it's funny to me, sometimes Christians are like yeah, definitely Christians do this, where, like, they see the West and they see, like, white culture and they go, "It's because of Christianity." It's like, "Well, okay, that's a
No,
part of
no,
it."
I mean, it's chicken or the egg.
Yeah,
It's innately white Christian or white Western people are going to be more drawn to something like Christianity. It
yeah.
fits more in line with some of our innate. And so that's where some of the convergence of like my feelings on Christianity come. Even though I'm not a Christian, I don't believe in the resurrection, which makes me not a Christian. And that's really the big point for me, the big point of drop off is like, do I believe in the resurrection? How can I convince myself logically of the resurrection? And of course, I spent years and I couldn't believe in it. And that kind of kills everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, you being knowing what I know about you and fighting MMA and your interests that you have, I can tell you're a very logical person, and there's no lying. You don't wanna you fear lying to yourself, and I fear the exact same thing. Actually, when my brother died, I was, like, mad at everybody, not at God or not at, like, anything else or my pastor or nothing like that. I was just mad at my grandparents for being like, "Man, you guys all go to church, you believe in God, and you act like he's going to heaven, it's a for sure thing, but none of you know. Like, none of you actually know. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
And unless you are honest about that, it's hard to talk about anything because you just have this blind faith. Of course,
Yeah.
that
I
was
mean,
early
that's the
in
definition of faith. I mean, it's this view without substantiation. To trust in something unsubstantiated,
yeah.
which I think is important for society. Like, believe it or not, I think the vast majority of people need some amount of religiosity. I
Yeah,
just think
and
it's
yeah.
needed.
Right, and as a logical person, that's where I came to the conclusion, I'm like, "Man, this makes me mad," and I have, like, a reverse effect towards Christianity when my brother passed away, but then I started to kind of get into politics and started, like, getting into life, getting older, and I realized that it's very logical to have faith in God and even in religion in some aspect, because there's a lot of religions, some are wrong, some are right, or some have good practices, some don't. But just as a
Yeah.
structure of being, of thinking, of dedicating yourself to gratitude on a weekly basis, which is pretty much what religion is, that can be extremely powerful in organizing your life and organizing society. And if you look at, like, as a logical person, you go, okay, where's the number? Where does 2 plus 2 equals 4? Well, here it is. God or Christ, religious institutions are infinitely better at taking someone who either is addicted to drugs or is just a slop in life, right? And turning their life around for the better. They are infinitely better at
I
doing that one thing. Whereas, like, these
agree.
right now, our government has this thing of they're like separation of church and state. And the Democrats, of course, have taken that and wanted to, cycle it through a washing machine. And now they have all these nonprofits that are explicitly not backed by Christ or God. And they're not allowed to talk about them. They're only allowed to talk about science and secularism pretty much in those organizations. And what has that led to? It leads to us giving our taxpayer money to these organizations. You've got 25-year-old women mostly who have master's degrees in psychology, don't even know much about life.
God, the worst type. Oh
Yeah,
man, God,
and
those
they're
women are
telling you
insufferable.
that, the best way to help the drug epidemic is to actually give clean meth pipes to all the drug addicts. That should help. And it's like, man, that's not what's gonna help. And then you
I
have
mean,
these pastors who have 30 years of experience turning people's lives around, and they can't get a dollar from the taxpayer because of separation of church and state. I can't help but to say that that's wrong, you know?
I mean, agree. I agree to some extent. I mean, I also kind of have like a social Darwinian view in terms of those kind of people. I don't know. I've spent a lot of time in the hospital setting, and so I've talked with a lot of homeless people, and a lot of it is just, in essence, a large drain of people who will never be saved and are just drains on society. I mean, they're kind of assholes. They're kind of like really shitty people. Like a lot of them are homeless, addicted for a reason. Not to be cruel, not to be immoral there, but I really don't think that everyone has the right to shelter. The right never existed. It's not innate. It's something you build for yourself. It's something that the capable people can build and house themselves, and the incapable are the ones that perish. And we aren't letting them perish. We just aren't. I'm not saying we should go out and kill them, obviously, but hey, we took a selection pressure out, and then this keeps getting worse, and we're like, shit. And then as Christians, one of my gripes is like, oh, well, we're just gonna, food banks. Nobody should go hungry. And I'm like, yeah, in theory, but it's a lot deeper than that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, how do we evolve? We evolve through external pressures. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
exactly right. I think this is something that needs to be talked about more. And I particularly think it would be great if women would talk about this more because if you think about it, women are they
oh
are the ones
man,
who produce humans. They should be the ones that talk about the actual, like, I know it's going to be hard for them to do this because they're so empathetic, but talk about actually what are the social pressures. When do we draw the line and say, oh, you are a bad person?
we can't have women talk about this. We have women
Well,
talking about more things than they've ever been allowed to talk about in the whole world ever. And now look at where the hell we are. Like, I don't know. Like, we got bitches with, 35-year-old bitches without kids with master's degrees in psychology. You know what I mean? Telling us how to raise our kids. I don't know. Yeah, in theory, but I don't trust, like, there's very few women that I've ever met that I would even trust to raise a child. Like, that I even think should reproduce, unfortunately. And that kind of sucks. That really sucks. I think these were probably a lot better 50 years ago. But you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And like really this just gets back to the racial thing because at this point we're not really protecting a white society for all of these, social welfare and helping homeless get off the streets and stuff. They're not white. They're not white. Like the vast majority of them aren't white. The most kids, I mean, now white kids are a minority in the United States. So we're not helping white kids.
yeah, even within our generation, we're a minority, you know? Yeah,
Yeah, we're not helping white kids. It's different. It's different.
right.
I mean, I have like a very pragmatic view on things. Like, I think that like I have full accountability with my own actions and my own decisions. And this way I can have the world is by birthing my own kids and raising them how I see just. But a lot of this is just kind of this, modernity, you know, fucking slow burn. It's actually kind of a fast burn. That's what I've been thinking about lately, how it's been really fast. Like, even 5 years ago, I think that, like, the views I have now would be considered even more extreme than they are now. I think they're becoming more commonplace. Like, have you noticed that? Like, do you think
Oh,
that, or am I
oh,
crazy?
100%. Oh, 100, no, 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 100%. You're right. Yeah. The political, I think, well, one big reason why is because white people are finally becoming race conscious. Let me ask you a question. If you were standing outside of a pool and there was one white kid and one black kid drowning and you could only save one,
Oh,
which
man.
one?
I can't answer this.
Can't? Okay.
I've saved both in my life. I've lifeguarded.
You would turn
But I
around and
will
say,
say that we had more black kids drown.
yeah, that's what my last guest said. They said, I think what I would do is I would save the black kid because I think that the white kid would learn how to swim in the amount of time before he drowned.
There you go. There you go. Hey,
Yeah.
it's
So
hey,
what I would
optics
say,
gotta exist.
yeah, what I would answer white, but here's why I would answer the white child, right? This is why. If you ask if you ask black people that question, the majority of black people will select the black child. If you ask
Oh, in-group
Indians,
preference.
if you asked Indians, the majority of Indians would select an Indian child. Same with Asians, same with all ethnic groups. Besides one ethnic group either won't answer the
Yeah.
question or would actually choose the other side, and that is whites. And that is why we have to start getting really serious about being racially conscious. I think that might be the most important political thing in today's society.
I agree, and it's crazy how I'm still constrained by that in a sense, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that really is
Even
a
you.
with, like, my beliefs and stuff, but, I mean, I don't know, I guess for no man, that is a great point. I mean, in-group preference, that's the thing, and that's why we have low social trust. It's just the way it is, and we can assign a moral quantity to it as much as we want, but, as long as white women exist, I don't think we'll ever have an ethno state, so
Yeah.
I
And
don't
it goes
know.
to show too, like, I think it's not necessarily like the reason why white people are the only group that does it is because we are moral. That's why. That we're a high trust people. We're moral. We
Mhm,
want to
yeah,
be moral. And so we choose the black person or we choose to turn around and let them both drown or whatever or whatever, not answer the question
save
because
both of them.
we want to be, we're trying to be moral. That's why when you see white people in positions of power in the US, they try to help all Americans, right? Whereas if you put a black or you put an Indian or whoever else into positions of power, who do they help? They help their own family, their own cousins, their own brothers. That's who they help. That's why
Yeah,
white people are better at leading a nation like America than anyone else. It's because we're more conscious less conscious of our own tribe. We need to be more conscious because now we're in the world. We are not just in America in the where everything was taken care of and all your brothers would do right by you. If your car got a flat tire, everyone would pull over and try to help you. We don't live in that environment anymore. We don't.
yeah.
And these people hate us. We have to really realize that. Some of them don't hate us, maybe half of them don't, but they still would have a preference of their own than us. Whereas half
And
of
that's
them
just the way it
actually
is, like,
hate us.
to that. That's just the way it is. There's nothing wrong with a black person wanting to save a black child. That's just the way it is, just like there shouldn't be anything wrong with a white person wanting to save a white child. You know
That's
what
how
I
God
mean? I
made
mean,
us.
it's the same deal. Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with that, but, I still agree with the fundamental underlying principle. It's that for whatever reason, I mean, well, for a long evolutionary chain, we, of course, trust our tribe more than other ones because trusting the other tribe would get us killed. So this is,
Yeah.
and maybe with white people, I mean, where do you think that our lack of in-group preference I mean, we still have in-group preference, absolutely, but we don't seem to act on it very much. Like, where do you think that came from? What sets us apart? Like,
Well, I do think that, like, people ask, because in the 50s, we did have some semblance of that, of white identity. And, they exploit, like, the people in power today, especially, they exploit our past and say, look, you burnt down this city of blacks and all this stuff, the KKK. And we have to pay attention because so that was probably immoral to do so. But what they
yeah,
were pushing back against was exactly what's happening today, a genocide of white people where our population's going down, their population's going up. They have preferential pick in college education, in pretty much all aspects of our environment. And this is
yeah.
our nation. And so we're upset about, those people were upset about that
Sure.
happening. And now look, it's actually happening. So in that, they were right. But also, too, we know why this is happening. We know why every Netflix show is a white woman who's sleeping around with black guys and everything else. We know why that is. It's because there is a foreign influence in our nation that runs our nation. And you say, well, why would they want to do that? That makes no sense. How does it benefit them? Well, this is how it benefits them. They were the original minority in white society. They were the OGs of all the minorities from a long, long time ago. And they were taken advantage of, right? We made them do all the jobs that we didn't like counting
Or we
money and
thought
doing
were
things like this.
immoral.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so they weren't able to pretty much have a foothold into society. And then if they would build up a foothold in society, they would immediately try to take power so that way they can protect their interest and protect their people in that society as foreigners. And the
Hmm.
more and more that they were kicked out and let back in and kicked out and let back in, they developed these modalities of being able to survive. That 100 year, thousands of years later has led them to be able to take control of a civilization, protect themselves, and also make it to where that society is accepting to them. Well, how do they do that? They push narratives of multiculturalism, or this is not a white nation, this is a nation for all. And that is their MO in every nation. I saw a British guy the other day on TV. He was like, and he was from the right wing party. He goes, just because, these, immigrants, they built this nation. And I'm like, what? Immigrants built England? What? That's the same thing we hear in America. That's a crock of crap.
Different tribal bodies. I don't fucking know what that means. What they're talking about there. It's just this I don't even know. Out of touch, I guess.
Yeah. They're old and brainwashed.
Old. Old. Brainwashed. I don't know. I mean, yeah, boomers are certainly kind of out of touch. They grew up in a different world. Completely different world.
So
But
what do you have going on today? What are you working on? What's your day-to-day look like?
well, I train MMA about 40 hours a week. I want to go
Oh,
pro at some point and see how far I can get with that. Um, I study a lot. I'm extremely interested in human performance and optimization,
mhm,
whether it be in the world of hypertrophy or longevity, general health. Very, very interested in cognitive enhancement, nootropics, really anything goes for all of that. Any way I can kind of exploit or utilize some aspect of my physiology. A lot of what that has to do is literally trying to encapsulate typical environments that our ancestors grew up in, like, fulfilling certain nutrient deficiencies that were not a problem 50 years ago, like when all of our
yeah.
waters had lithium. You know what I mean? But now we have demineralized water and it all has chlorine in it and like all this crazy stuff. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm interested in is health, and living a
I
vital
saw
life.
in your bio.
Go on.
Excuse me, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. I saw in your bio you have pharmacology. Do you wanna expand on that a little bit? Like, what do you mean? Are you on tests?
Oh, no, I'm not on test. Um, uh, but I wouldn't be opposed to that if, like, my levels were somehow deficient, suboptimal. Like, I'm never opposed to some sort of fulfillment or trying to replicate a more natural and higher achieving standpoint of physiology, although I think people fixate on testosterone too much. But pharmacology, really just the utilization of different drugs to achieve certain outcomes. So whether that be
Mhm.
cognitively, physically, all sorts of things. I'm extremely interested in neurochemistry. So being able to modulate that system, it's very, very interesting to me. As like we are more depressed and more anxious than we've ever been. And that just kind of comes with the territory of like this modern hellscape. So how do we mediate those things and use our tools is really what I'm interested in. It's like how can we use these
What are some of
tools
the
that
drugs that you're, experimenting with or that you're utilizing?
right now I'm using Noopept, which is a nootropic. It's a metabolite of IGF-1 and it has a lot of different, very neuroprotective, very neuroplastic. So I'm working on learning a category 4 language right now and about to start learning some more advanced mathematics that I haven't really ever touched. So I'm trying to expand there because like I take all these different drugs, but like with every drug, I have an outcome I'm trying to achieve and I have to do the action. You know what I mean? Like if I'm taking something to modulate my cardio, I'm going to be doing a lot of cardio. You know what I mean? So like people use these things in isolation and they don't do the action that they need to get the benefits. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm interested in is the culmination of both. I am the worst at answering questions directly,
No, you're fine. You're
but
good.
you've had what are some of the interesting ones? Interesting one that I've used a bit has been insulin. I like that for women. I'm now kind of like not really into trying to get the most amount of hypertrophy as possible, but insulin's kind of a unique one, I guess, for a gal.
What does it
It basically nutrient partitioning. So after you work out, eating a large amount of carbs, and then insulin is what gets those carbs in the place where they need to be. So it's very valuable. It's an interesting tool if you use it right. I've used God, my stock's kind of slim right now. I'm just taking like normal supplements. There's a lot of crazy shit that I'm doing right now. I'm
a
about to
lot of
start
vitamins?
Dihexa, which is another nootropic, but it more so has to do with like synaptic pruning. Um, and
What's it called? Okay, cool. Yeah, I love nootropics.
yeah,
There's a lot of I took lion's mane
yeah.
before and stuff like that. I took kratom before. I don't know if you tried kratom before. I've tried a few things to kind of mix
I
it
mean,
up
how did you
rather
feel
than
on
just
lion's
nicotine.
mane?
Hmm?
How did you feel on lion's mane? I have some thoughts about it.
It was good, but for some reason, like after probably a week of doing it, I kind of got a headache from it. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, I have some
And I
thoughts.
don't know if
So,
it
like,
worked.
I mean, okay. So the thing about lion's mane is that I believe that you have around 120 different bioactive components. Um, and some of those are just like basically amino acids and shit and like some polyphenols. But it makes the exact effects and dosage really hard to gauge because there's so much variety in between brands and there's not a lot of standardization. So it's like
Mm,
kind of like dirty pharmacology. It's like the difference
mm,
between like berberine and metformin. Like metformin is a pharmaceutical. We have so many studies on it. We know exactly how it works, exactly where it works. It's very, very clean. It's very little small molecule. We have berberine, which people use instead of metformin, and it's this huge, messy alkaloid that has a ton of off-target effects. But people will use berberine over metformin because berberine's natural. It comes from the ground, it comes from a plant. So I don't know.
yep, yep. That's funny. The
But
whole natural thing is hilarious.
yeah, I mean, I think that technically metformin is synthesized. I could be mistaken here, but I believe it's from a lilac plant, and it was obviously modified and tweaked to make it super super specific. But they do literally the same thing. But people will choose berberine. I don't know. I have qualms with that. Ugh,
It's
I
funny
don't like.
how they use it these companies, these big companies especially, they utilize, like, the word organic. I know that, in the food industry, for a minute there, they're like, "Oh, we want all organic," and so then they would use organic pesticides, which is like, what is it, H2 sodium or, like, some type of really bad chemical that, like, kills everything, and it's, like, super deadly for you, and it's way worse for you than the unorganic stuff that they use that targets just the pests.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
so it was, like, way worse for you, but they didn't care because they wanted to sell organic, so they don't care about there's no profit in
yeah,
making it healthy, there's profit in making you buy it.
yeah. Absolutely, 100%, 100%. There's never really profit in health. Purely what what the consumer will cave to, so, I mean, the lies that they wanna believe. Yeah, I have some thoughts on
Mhm.
that. I mean, I think that there's certainly some error in trying to go the natural way. I don't know.
So what are some of the things that you see online today? Because I know, obviously you're apolitical, you kinda see both the left and the right. You're probably definitely more you see of the right, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, but I'll take a political compass test and I'm a left authoritarian, which is,
Hmm.
because of some socialistic aspects.
What are
So
some
but
of
I'm
those? What are
nationalist. Put 2 and 2
Okay.
together.
Right, right, okay.
But that's all
And
bullshit, I mean.
yeah. So what would you say, like, within that community of people, what are some of the things that you see that are kind of, frustrating to you? Do you notice anything that kinda is annoying you on
No.
there?
It's just I think it's just new people, I don't know, that just haven't kinda been in the space long enough, that
And they're
just
like,
it's
"Yeah,
just time will tell, like, they'll start to understand at some point. But
yeah,"
I don't know, I
like,
view
just
things
coming
through
around.
yeah, I view things through, like, a very pragmatic lens. For example, I want as much of a free market as I can probably possibly muster in this type of day and age. In this like current environment, I would want nothing more than less taxation and more of a free market and be able to do whatever I freaking want in terms of entrepreneurial and business space.
Yeah.
But in the ideal world, there would be some degree of like, actually beneficial socialistic intervention in terms of an actually good public education system. You know what I mean? Like,
If we were
so those
all
are my
white, I
thoughts.
love socialism, but because we're not all white, I hate it.
Hate socialists, exactly. I mean, that's what
Mm.
because we're not a high IQ society. Socialism doesn't work. Doesn't work right now.
All
So
those
yeah, maximize
socialistic
free
benefits
market.
will just go to the yeah, all the socialistic benefits will just go to the low IQ people that weigh on our system and hate our country. So we don't want
Exactly.
a socialism
Absolutely.
country today. That's kind of a really
Exactly.
important topic when you're talking to people who are socialists or capitalists and all these things. It's like, well, hold on, it just depends where you're at.
Exactly. 100%. I mean, Norway functions way differently, being a high trust, pretty homogenous society. They can actually reform or rehabilitate prisoners because they're, you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you think of Nick Fuentes? Do you think he's sold out? Do you think he's always been sold out? He worked for the CIA. What do you think about him?
I don't pay attention to him.
Oh,
Um,
really? You don't watch him at
yeah,
all?
no, I really don't. I really don't. I'm sure he's just doing his thing. I don't know. I don't really pay attention to a lot of other people in the space, to be honest. I don't have a lot to say. I guess I didn't like him that much when I was younger because the Catboy Cammy thing, but that's like I was like 13, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I don't like what does. He likes cat boys.
Wait, you were 13? Wait, how old are you now?
I'm 20.
Oh, wow, okay, you're super young, alright. I'm 27,
Yeah,
so
so
a little bit older than you.
I I would have been yeah, I probably would have been like 13 or 14 in that era.
Yeah, I didn't even know Nick Fuentes until, like, probably maybe earlier this year,
Wow.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but I like him, he's cool.
Yeah, I mean, he's funny. I've seen clips, but I just don't really pay attention. I don't know, I don't really listen to political commentary. I just I like reading research, I like evolutionary psychology, kinda like, the quantifiable reality just because 'cause I'm probably super autistic. Yeah, that's just what I like. I I feel like I had so much exposure to political commentary when I was younger that I just don't really care to consume.
Yeah. Yeah, evolutionary, especially, like, anthropology is, like, really cool to me. I like
Super cool.
knowing, like, what's going on. You look at the bell curve, it's like Asians are the smartest, then whites, then Africans, you could say. But what's interesting to me is that, what? You disagree with that?
Jews. Jews are the smartest.
How could I forget? I mean, obviously,
Anyway,
right? So, hearing that and going like, I did my ancestry earlier this year, and, like, I found out my family goes all the way back to the Revolutionary War, fought in every single war, back to England. From the little village in England, I can trace my literal grandfather all the way back to the 9th century.
crazy.
So, all the way back when, like, the Romans still ruled England, and all that.
Yeah,
So, and
yeah.
seeing that and going, all the stuff that they went through and like how they had sheep, how they were sheep herders in this mountainside, and they were conquered by multiple different people, and the Anglo-Saxons and all this, and then obviously they intermarried with the Vikings and stuff like that. And we see all this of what happened and what occurred, and then even before that, all the stuff that pretty much Europeans had gone through, right? The Silver Age, the Bronze Age, the Industrial Revolution, the Agricultural Revolution, all of these aspects of our evolution, people dying, even like I covered one thing where I was talking about like we invented the plane. Well, how did we invent the plane? Because guys risked it and they died over and over and over. And now we all enjoy the plane.
Yeah,
And so, but that means something. Our
yeah,
last names, our who we are as Europeans, it means something. And we're taking all the achievements of our grandparents and we're just throwing it down the drains for some low IQ Somalian people. Like, come
yeah,
on,
yeah,
to me that's crazy. And people are saying that that's empathetic. That's unempathetic of you. No, it's unempathetic of you to expect me to throw away the meaning of my last name to make you feel better about your people's,
yeah. Go
inability to
tell
do
them to
anything.
live by a migrant hotel. I'm sure they'll enjoy that. I'm sure
Yeah.
they'll get their cultural enrichment there.
Yeah. And, like, the thing
but
is
not
too is
everybody.
I'm not I'm a Christian, I'm empathetic, I wanna be empathetic to these people, and I think if we had our own nation or our nation was a lot of our problems were fixed here, and we could take care of our own people, why do they have to live in our backyard? If we're really empathetic, why wouldn't we go to their nation and build the water wells for them? Why wouldn't we do that? Why
Oh,
are we doing it
that's
here?
I understand they have to come here because we owe it to them, right? Because we built, like, roads in Africa and stuff, and there's, like, apartheid and, like I mean, we helped give them, like, more modern sewage and, like, modern buildings, but that was colonizing, so we can't do that.
And you know, why do you wanna exist anyway? Why don't you wanna interbreed with a bunch of other groups of people, so that way your sovereignty, your culture, your race just gets extinguished? Because what do
Yeah.
you wanna survive?
Yeah, basically. Um,
It's sickening.
I mean,
But do you have is
we
there
live
anything else
in.
you wanna say? We've already been almost going an hour, I usually go about an hour.
Are there any other topics that
Well, we have some political topics if you wanna get into. So, did you see what's going on, obviously, in Minneapolis, all of the different, protests?
I haven't I'm sorry.
No,
What
you're
are the
fine.
protests for? ICE or,
Well,
like
yeah. So there was the lady got killed by the ICE agent. You heard about that, I'm assuming, right?
yeah, play stupid games with stupid prizes.
Right, and now there are massive sorry, I'll cut that out. I just had a little my dogs are barking. So yeah, there was a protest. There's giant protests. People are not going to school. Businesses are shut down. I mean, the economic ramifications of what has happened is like massive for Minneapolis. It's like, it's kind of funny,
Mm,
just like Black Lives Matter. It's like someone hurt us. So what are we going to do now? We're going to hurt ourselves even more. I mean, it makes no sense. If you regard yourself as American, like America, wouldn't something bad happen to Americans and then now we're going to burn our own city to the ground? It makes no sense to me. But so
I
that's
don't
what they're
know.
doing in rebuttal to this, and then on top of that, you know, we just had the big announcement about all of the fraud by the Somalian people, and we just also found out it's factually true because it was a conspiracy theory before, that Ilhan Omar, pretty much the leader of the Somalian people, married her brother in order for him to immigrate to the US. We have proven that now, but yet she is still in America. And yet her and her Somalian brothers and sisters will not leave and won't be deported. And the only people that are being deported by the Trump campaign right now are a measly 6,500 people. So all of this
Yeah.
rioting, all of this government shutdown, all of this news coverage, all of the stuff with Nick Shirley and all these podcasts, and yet all we're getting out of it is 6,500 people deported.
I mean, as expected. I don't know. I don't know, man. I
Yeah.
don't pay attention to any of this stuff. I don't even know.
For you, you're kinda like, "Well, yeah, what'd you think? I coulda told you that, I know." But it's man, it really
Yeah.
for the normies out
It's
there, it's
just
like, "Please."
cyclical. It's
Yeah.
very cyclical. I don't know. I don't think Minnesota's real. I don't think it exists. I've never seen it. So I have no reason to believe it exists, to be honest. I don't know if Somalis
Yeah.
exist either. I don't think I've ever seen one.
Trump says at Davos. So another news topic today is that Newsom goes to Davos and pretty much lobbies against the US. Like, that's insane. But, he
I
goes and does that, and he said some pretty funny stuff. Gavin Newsom goes and says, "Gosh, if I woulda known that the Europeans were gonna act like this, the European leaders just roll over for Trump, man, I woulda brought the knee pads for him." We're like, "What did you just say?" But, so he lobbied against the US's interests and wants Europe to fight against the US, which is just absolutely insane considering how much we do for Europe. We literally provide them military protection from the rest of the world and have for
yeah,
since World War
yeah.
II. So, but not nonetheless, Trump at Davos said, "I always thought that we all thought Somalians had a low IQ, but apparently not the lowest IQ because they were able to fraud Minneapolis out of all of this money."
That's funny. Hey, but they get
Yeah,
caught.
he said the thing with Trump is Trump's an excellent salesman, and so he says things that we all love, think is funny, and we're like, "Yes, you're right. Let's get these people out of here." He even said that, "We don't want the Somalians here. We want them out." But yet, when it comes to doing it, that's where he falls short. Nothing's happening. Nothing's changing.
Nothing.
I love Trump to death. I hope he does good, but he's not. There's nothing's changing. It's all the same.
I'm
You know, also
indifferent.
not to mention for all the Republicans out there that are watching this and going, "Oh, Trump's my guy." Trump is telling you to your face that Somalians need to leave and he's going to do all this deporting. Hasn't deported anybody, by the way. And then on top of that, he's opening up our back door and letting in a bunch of Indian people through H-1B visas more than ever before by
Oh, we
far.
need more gas stations.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happens. They fraud our system as well, just like Ilhan Omar did. Trump and the Republicans are doing the exact same thing in Texas right now. They're saying, "Oh, they're here for tech," but they're not. They're here to work at a gas station. Literally, that is what they're doing right now. And Trump
It
himself has these people donate to Republicans in Texas and their consulting firms that their sole goal is to bring Indians from India to the US. I mean, this is incredible.
Yeah, yeah, it's all very cyclical, it's predictable, and this shit's gonna keep happening, but nothing ever happens, so I mean, I don't know, that's why I've stopped paying attention to it throughout the years. I'm like, just nothing ever happens, man. It's kind of a
Sometimes it's
I
easier
just
just to yeah, it's easier
well,
just
I
to
wanna
focus on
focus
your own
on
thing you got going on.
yeah, building myself up to raise children is the most important thing in my life, and everything else is kind of like, "Oh, yeah, that stuff keeps happening, and it's gonna keep happening," and it's like, "Oh, well, you can talk about the decline, but at the same time, it's like, not gonna do anything about it."
Mhm.
So I'm
And are
interested to see
you do
how
you
it'll
have any
work.
kids?
No, no,
Do you have any children, or are you married or anything?
no, no. I'm 20.
So
I'm gonna wait. I
yeah, yeah.
mean, as feminist as that seems, I'm waiting it out a little bit,
I don't think that's a bad
but
idea. I mean, a lot of people, the real trad people are like, "No, you should be having kids by the time you're 16." It's like, get real. There is a point where you go too far with the trad life, and I've always been one to be like, "No, don't talk bad about the trad." And I'm not talking bad about trad people. If they want to be like that, great, do it. That's awesome. We need more people like that. But there is a point
yeah.
where you have to be realistic in your life. Like, okay, yeah, we want to all do that, but you can't. That's the thing is like you literally cannot do that, you know?
I mean, I want my
It's
kids
incredibly
to
hard.
have all the opportunities I can possibly give them, so I'm not gonna be able to do that at 20, and I only know so much, I'm quite naive, so it's just not in the arena right now, not really, but, like, everything I do in my life is kinda culminating to that, at least in my perspective, like,
Yeah.
everything I do in the end, it's justified by childbirth, like, that's the most important thing in my mind, and so that's why I don't like to spike my cortisol too much, like, looking at the current political thing. I see silly memes. It's about where I get my news, and I think it's funny, and I laugh, and I'm like, the absurdity of our decline. It's very funny. I don't know. There's like an irony in it. I mean, I don't like the black pill. I think that it's silly. It's funny. It tells us a lot about how we are as humans, and that's what I'm most interested in. Is like, how are we as humans? Like, what is the truth? How do we act? How is this historically defined? Like, what can we predict? And how can we be silly and goofy? Like, I don't know, man. I'm not black pilled,
You're more down to
but
earth type person. That's cool. You got a cool vibe.
I don't know. I appreciate it,
Yeah, so that's pretty
but
much it for the news today. But is there anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. I don't think so. As soon as I was told to touch grass at like 15, 16, I did so, and I realized how nice it felt, and I realized how I could have a very liberated perspective of witnessing the decline, witnessing the fall, but also seeing it as kind of this, like, almost comedic endeavor, not necessarily a joyful one, but just description of our reality, and, I mean, most will perish, a few will survive, it's just the cycle of it, and Lord only knows how things will end up in 10, 20 years. I don't know, man. I haven't been around long enough to even begin to predict. But,
Well,
I mean,
that's a
how do you
great
think it'll
message,
be
I
in
think.
10 years?
Yeah, I think that's a great message for a lot of the people that are in politics. It's like, man, go outside, go spar. I mean,
Yeah,
really,
go
go
spar!
spar.
Probably too, even though it's
Take
kinda
the
gay,
anger
like,
out that you have for the Jews and the blacks and go punch somebody, okay?
yeah, just punch someone, man, like, have fun with it, like,
That will solve a
I
lot
don't
of your
know,
problems.
it's yeah, I mean, everyone I meet in life, I kinda take I meet them all as individuals, and I get to know them, and I'm very practical and very pragmatic, and I've found that's the most fulfilling way to live my life, so, yeah.
Nice. All right, guys, this is Lifter Lily. You could follow her on Instagram at Lily Diana. She covers quite a bit of things if you're into fitness, MMA, pharmacology, apolitical takes.
Very
Hit the
political, apolitical.
yeah, yeah. Make sure you follow her on Instagram, guys. This is the Paint the Town Red podcast. We hope you guys have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow.